Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I just read Warhawk by Wraight, and it was a very enjoyable experience. The main storyline follows the semi-suicidal charge of the White Scars to reclaim the Lion's Gate spaceport from the hands of the Dead Guard. The odds aren't looking great though, especially once you factor in the additional power Mortarion has gotten from Grandfather Nurgle. However, there's also a lot to gain, as the anti-air cannons of the spaceport are still quite salvageable, not to mention that they could put a stop to the magical aura of despair that Mortarion is slowly infecting the defenders with. Furthermore, we of course also get some progress in all of the other ongoing Siege storylines, ranging from Keeler's Quest of Faith to the Perpetual Justice League, and from Valdor's final solution to Sigismund's confrontation with Karn, which actually forms my first point of criticism for this novel, or just the entire Siege series in general, and that is that there's just too much going on. Certain conversations get cut in 3 or 4 parts, which are then spread out over a dozen pages. Almost every Siege novel does this, and I'm not such a fan personally, as this makes the conversations a lot harder to follow. In fact, I even went back after finishing the novel and read some story parts sequentially, while skipping all of the other story parts, and I liked it a lot more. That being said, it doesn't ruin the novel or anything, and if you're this far into the series, you're probably already getting used to it. Next, let's get my second and final criticism out of the way before we continue to all the good things about Warhawk, and that is the Urda storyline. Now already this wasn't the best storyline ever, as she's basically a Mara Astarte with war powers, but still her story had a lot of potential to explore some unknown parts of the lore, or to further deal with the fact that she caused the spread of the Primarchs. I mean, imagine how cool it would have been to see her interact with someone like Mortarion or Angron. She would then have to get over the fact that the entire Horus heresy is basically as much her fault as the Emperor's. Not to mention how interesting it would have been to see a Primarch react to finding the person responsible for their horrible backstory. Hell, she might have even become a bigger target than the Emperor for some of the traitor Primarchs. This book, however, has very different plans, which I won't spoiler here, but this truly is the pinnacle of a story going nowhere, which was rather disappointing. Anyways, let's now go to all the good things about the book, starting with Wright's pet legions, namely the White Scars and the Dead Guard. Both are wonderfully fleshed out in this novel, with both sides having a wide range of interesting characters present, many of which you will probably be familiar with if you've read Scars, Path to Heaven and The Buried Dagger. They both also get some interesting lore in the process. For an example, we get to learn the process by which the White Scar swords are made, and we get to see the Dead Guard slowly getting used to Nurgle's gifts. In regards to the lore, I also really like how Wright has gone out of his way to make sense of some confusing, contradictory or just unsatisfying lore in this book. The main example is how at one point in the book a demon called the Remnant shows up and tells a rather different version of Mortarion's fall than we saw in The Buried Dagger, a version which I personally found way more compelling, as Mortarion doesn't just get fooled by Typhus in this one. But that's not all, he also shows how the Imperial cult became so obsessed with skulls and manages to make sense of the siege related lore for the White Scars. What truly sets this book apart from the other Siege books, however, was the amount of introspection the characters in this novel go through. Both the Dead Guard as well as the Loyalists in this novel have a lot to process, and rather than just portraying the decisive actions of the Marines and the Primarchs, Wright often elects to give us glimpses into their thought process. For an example, we see a Dead Guard legionary contemplating how exactly he should feel about the actions of Typhus because he kinda betrayed them all. Or we get to see a White Scar thinking about what would happen if the Khan were to die in a coming battle. This introspective writing also made the 2 big battles of the book shine. The battle between the Khan and Mortarion is absolutely epic, with Sassy Jagatai picking at the insecurities of Mortarion, and meanwhile the fight between Sigismund and Karn shows the first glimpses of modern 40k, with the defenders becoming almost as screwed up as the traitors. The dream is dead, the galaxy is aflame, and hurting the enemy is all that matters anymore. Sigismund has become such an animal at this point that even Karn of all people is freaked out by him. Furthermore, I also really enjoyed the ending of the book, but as always I won't spoiler it. Just trust me when I say it is some of the most tragic and epic stuff I've read in quite a while. Now finally, I would like to praise the section of the novel where Basilio Foe encounters a Night Lord. All of a sudden, his story turns into a small horror story which utilizes the Night Lord's capability to see the future in a very fun way. It's a small detail, but one I very much appreciated. So wrapping it all up, I give Warhawk 5 out of 5 Black Blades. Warhawk is a great addition to the Siege series, which stands apart from the rest because of its great lore additions and introspective writing. Furthermore, it has an excellent portrayal of the White Scars, Dead Guard and Sigismund, accompanied by some truly epic battles. The only real downside is that the Urda storyline is uncharacteristically dumb for Wright, but fortunately this is only a small part of the novel. Definitely recommend this one for White Scars and Dead Guard fans, but also for Sigismund fans and just anyone interested in the Siege really. Anyways, that was all I got for you today.
If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and click ringing the bell to appease the Great Horned Rat. For more lore content, please check my main channel and leave any book recommendations in the comments down below. I gotta get back to reading the next book.